And hello everyone, welcome to Keeler Gardens. We are live coming to you from the back deck overlooking the rear gardens here at Keeler Gardens. If you're joining us for the first time or watching on a replay, know that if you follow us and like us here on Facebook and allow notifications, you will get a little ding every time we go live, which is very exciting. So please do follow us, do like us, and share these videos so that we can share this message of connecting with nature. Here at Keeler Gardens, we have our space and also programs that bring our urban community a stronger connection with nature. So today, in light of this nature connection that we want to promote, even though we say that we can do many things, it doesn't just have to be gardening. We are focusing on something garden oriented today. So if you're interested in anything connecting you with nature, art, technology, photography, design, any aspect, we can find a program that will work for you, whether it's an individual or a group, or you just want to feel a little more connected to your community. So I'm giving you a little view of the back area here. So this is the back deck. And what we're going to be working on today is building an orchid tree. So I don't know if anyone has ever actually seen an orchid tree. It's not actually a tree that is an orchid. It's a construction of a bunch of orchids that sort of form into a tree. Hello, Ed. So Ed, who is usually our cameraman, is now on the other side of the video process here. He's enjoying the video and this programming from in front of a computer. So what we do is we take our orchids, and I'll show you this one. This one we're going to have to be very gentle with because it's actually blooming, and it's been blooming for a while. And you can see it's in this medium that's nice and soaked. Okay? We take that root ball of sorts and we attach it to what's going to be this tree over here. If you look here, we're going to tuck it into these little crevices here, and one there, and one there. We've got 5 or 6 orchids. We'll probably put 4 or 5 on this one, and then we'll put one right here so that it'll be in perfect view for us on this grouping. Now, these branches are dry, dead. They've been cut. There's no growth going on here, so there's no competition. The orchids will be watered with a watering system, and I think I might be able to pull one up for you. Here we have some other plants in our garden area. I'm going to focus on these pretty guys while I get this. So this little guy here, it's a dripper. It'll sit right at the base of the orchid and keep that medium nice and moist for it. And we're hoping to set it up with this moss and also a combination mixed in there of bark so that the roots are wrapped but also safe, because if we do just moss, it might be too dense and too wet. This is sphagnum moss. Now this moss is green, it's dyed green, so we would prefer the natural, always natural, no dyes for our plants. In this case, what we're going to do is we're going to soak this moss probably overnight, get it nice and hydrated, and a lot of that dye will rinse out, so we don't have to worry about it. So we're going to take the moss with bark that's nice and wet, and we're going to wrap the root ball, which, you don't want the roots to suffocate because they're not like regular roots. See, they hang out. They want to be damp and moist, but they don't want to be like in soil. You don't ever put orchids in soil. So we're going to take that, we're going to wrap that. See that fishing line? That's from last year. We're going to use fishing line, and we're just going to strap it on. We're going to sit it right here where there's like sort of a base. We're just going to strap it with the branches, and we'll do the same on this one. We'll set it right here and we'll strap it in. We might set another one here and strap it in. We might set another one there or another one here. Anywhere where we can hook the roots and the medium on without it falling apart. So last year when we did this project, we had them sitting all along here. Ed has asked a question. Where did you get the moss from? Oh, wonderful happenstance. I asked a community member, in fact, Meggie, who visits here very often on our videos, watches with us here. I asked her for some moss, and she suggested I reach out to the garden club. And the garden club president was kind enough to put out a request for me, and within an hour, I had 2 bags of moss to help wrap our orchids. So our community is being very supportive, and we're really grateful for that. As we have many materials to share, pots, containers, large containers for raised bed, like mimicking a raised bed. We always have plants to share. We always have things to share. Our community also shares dramatically. There's a lot of groups that share a lot in our community, so we're very grateful for that. So, with that said, I will do a little review. We will take the orchid, take its base, make sure that its base is substantially damp with bark and moss that's been soaked. Wrap it nice and secure, but not too tight. And then we're going to attach it to different sections of our branches, over here and over here. And then the reason we do this is because the orchids then we're allowing them to mimic how they would naturally be growing, let's say, in a rainforest. And so then we drizzle their roots with to keep them damp, and then they'll get natural rain from the outside. And if you see the way that this building on the right here, that's the south. So the sun rises here in the east, comes up like this. So the orchids will have a tiny bit of dappling of sunshine in the early morning hours. And then for the rest of the day, they're in quite a bit of shade, almost full shade, but it's very bright because the sun streams in over here and the sun streams overhead. So what that allows is for these orchids, for these wonderful green leaves, to be the appropriate color. When orchid leaves are a deep green, that means they're not getting enough sunlight, and they will not produce flowers if you don't give them enough sunlight. You want them to be a lighter green, like the color of grass. And then you'll see here that this orchid got a lot of recent light as the days have changed. It stayed damp, and you'll notice, I don't know if I can zoom in on this, that it's got a green, this is a bud. We might be seeing another run of flowers here. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for these extensions to let us know that it's getting enough light and enough water. Let me see if I can put my hand back here so I can. Enough light and enough water to produce these lines that will then produce the buds for the flowers. So last year, I think we put, like I said, 6 or more out, and almost every single one of them produced a line for flowers. So this is, I think this is one of the last flowers that's left, actually. And I'll be honest, I don't know how long this has been in bloom. Orchid flowers can stay in bloom for months at a time. Our most recent one prior to this one was in bloom. A beautiful white orchid was in bloom for almost 4.5 months. It started blooming sometime in September, and it didn't fade until a couple months after Christmas. So that's the value of orchids. They're incredibly easy once you get the hang of it. Lots of bright indirect light, the right temperature and water, and they'll bloom, and then the flowers will stay forever. They're incredible. So we're going to get started on this in the next day or so after this moss and the bark has had a chance to soak overnight. And then we'll post some pictures for you to show you what it's going to look like when we're done. So once again, this is our before shot right here. Our adorably lit little branches. About 2 months on the yellow one so far, I believe. Okay, great, Ed. Thanks for that. This yellow guy's been blooming for 2 months now. And then this is the other before picture of the branches. We're only going to probably have one orchid right here because the sun streams in behind this way. So these branches will shade it just enough that it'll be shaded here. It won't burn, but it'll be very bright for it. Okay, so Ed, you've been watching, you've been listening. Has it been clear? Do you think everyone's clear on what's going on with our orchids? Do you think I can wrap it up with, I'll start with letting everyone know a little bit again of what we're here to help with and what we do. I'm Gina at keelergardens.org. Anything horticulture, let me know. I can share with you, I can educate, I can show you how to build things, just let me know. We're very excited that the season is getting really underway now with kids being out of school and lots going on now. Ed, who is watching and commenting, Ed is our educational program director. So if you do have any programs, any educational things, any tech type things, technology related questions, or wow, I'm looking at Ed's comments. He's trying to be funny even in his comments. If you have anything related to needs for questions regarding building programs or educational content, Ed is your guy. So with that said, our emails are right there in the comments. With that said, we are going to move to hashtag stick around. For those of you who sat through all of those emails and all of Ed's bad jokes, you get a little extra something. So I'm going to give you some information about orchids that may or may not be new news to you. So orchids are what's called, I believe that the word is epiphytes. And what that means is that they don't absorb water through the roots like roots do in soil. They absorb water from the air. And that's why when we plant them, we want these roots, these nice, strong, and that's actually a new one coming out right there, thick roots to be near water, but not submerged in water. That's what an epiphyte is. And that's why a rainforest setting is so wonderful for orchids, because there's so much moisture in the air. They pull all of that into their roots from the air. So when you think about it, where in soil, the roots are touching water, and oftentimes you can actually root things in water directly. That's not how orchids work. Orchids want to pull the moisture from the air, so they actually want air. They want to have air like respiration, like we do, like we breathe. So I hope that was interesting for everyone. Let's see. We reviewed, we emailed, we stuck around, and I think that that's going to wrap it up for us for this particular day. I know I'm not nearly as interesting on the videos when Ed's not around. But this is going to be a wonderful, exciting project, and I can't wait to share the finished product with you all. So tomorrow we will have our Feature Friday. I'm very excited about tomorrow because we'll have a lot to talk about with you. So these are our before pictures. Welcome to our back deck. We'll have more coming up for you to see about how our orchid tree turns out, and some other things about our rear deck that are going to be changing soon. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Ed, for sticking around and for putting things in the comments. And for all of those of you who are watching this on the replay, please, you can comment here. We'll get a note, or you can email us. All right, everyone, take care. Bye.